So, as we always do right about this time, sucker shit.
My brother. So, I was thinking.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit, not good.
I was going through. I was actually talking about a history lesson with my daughter, and we started talking about government and Constitution, Bill of Rights, that kind of stuff. And I was talking about the different freedoms, amendments that we have. You got the right to assemble. You have freedom of the press. Mm-hmm. You have freedom of speech. Right. And then we talked about what I think is the most hotly contested amendment, okay, which is the second. So you got the advocates that are pro, which are like the NRA, and then you had the groups that are against it. And I saw a new lobbying group emerge that's pro Second Amendment. Okay. Now this is a mixed group. Okay. They mix with Tasmanian Devil and a 1990s minivan. Okay. Right.
Okay.
All right. You'll see them out in LA with tank tops on. Okay. Have you seen these post-COVID women? Okay. Because they have the right to bear arms all over LA. Okay. Right?
I see where you go.
So now look, black folks, I'm not a small man. I'm down 13 pounds though. But we have to be really conscious about our health. Nobody needs to be real thin or skinny or anything like that. But if you go to the movies and the movie start and you don't see it and everybody's watching it on your back, your ass is too big. All right? So, you Second Amendment niggas, you on some sucker shit.
Sucker! You sucker, man. You sucker.
See you later, sucker.
I know.
Right to bear arms.
So long, sucker.
That's the new bear arm.
The right to bear arms.
Got you. Saw what you did right there. All right.
Go ahead.
As we always do about this time.
This one's for you, Dio. I was thinking.
Oh shit, not good.
So, a year or two ago, COVID got me messed up, man. Probably 2 years ago, I did African ancestry.
Okay.
So I found out that I'm from the Timne people tribe in Sierra Leone, West Africa, where most of the majority of the slaves came from. Now,
Blood diamonds. There.
Yeah, shout out to Kanye. What they said was that when you discover this, you're supposed to have a fire that sparks and a kind of a greater understanding because you're more anchored to something, and understanding increases awareness.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, right? So I think that this applies in relationships. Understanding equals awareness.
No doubt.
So here's a couple interesting things that I was reading on. They did a survey in the United Kingdom, in the UK, and they found out that 1 in 25 men are raising children that aren't theirs and they don't know. They did a survey of women. They did in the United States, roughly 30% of DNA tests come back that the guy isn't the father. Right? Oh. So if you're in a situation as a man, how do you rectify this? Well, I propose a new company called Whole Ancestry.
Whole Ancestry?
Whole Ancestry, right? This way you understand the history of the hoe you messing with. See, a lot of people won't tell you that their mama and their grandmama was a hoe, right? See, a lot of people won't tell you that your grandma had sex with a dude named Slick Willie, all right, that played the spoons and the harmonica in a blues band down in Mississippi. Or she got it on at a cafe right down the street from the Edmund Pettus Bridge right before Bloody Sunday. Matter of fact, she missed the movement because she was getting busy in the bathroom, okay? She was giving up that civil rights puss. Some of these women if you go back into their history and all the way back to the motherland, they tribe, instead of holding spears, they was holding penises, right? So you gotta check the whole ancestry.
So is it a mouth swab for that, or is it like a finger prick? What was it?
All of that. Okay, because if you do the mouth swab, you get the penis residue out of there.
Oh man.
You non-ancestry niggas, you on some sucker shit.
You sucker, man. You sucker.
All right. As we always do about this time, sucker shit.
No, man, I was thinking.
Uh-oh.
Oh shit,
First
not
of
good.
all, F cancer.
F cancer.
F cancer, we know we done had our bouts with cancer, kicked our ass a few times.
No, fuck cancer.
Shout out to my cousin, recently survived, down 100 plus pounds, looking good, man.
You're looking great.
You know, and even though I hate cancer, I don't believe in secondhand smoke, right? Now I ain't read a lot of studies on it up like that, but as much dealing as everybody that have with cancer, you never heard the conversation go, oh, you heard what happened to Ricky? What? Man, that secondhand smoke got him. He was standing next to his daddy smoking Newports for 30 years. Don't nobody ever say that, right? Because secondhand smoke ain't killed nobody, right?
Good
I think it was just something to scare people off, right? So there's other secondhand things that I don't believe in, right? So for example, back when we was in college, I didn't drink. You and the ghost of Lebo used to get loaded all the time. I was always the designated driver. And then you get drunk, you get emotional. Everybody knows about you, want to hug and tell you how much you love me and all of that stuff. And I was like, man, get off me. Ain't no such thing as secondhand drunk. Right? You drinking the liquor. I'm drinking water. I'm fine, okay? So back then, I didn't even drink soda, you know? You chilling, right? I see, you see this out at happy hour, right? You the dude that old girl called when she complained about her dude. You sit up at Fridays, you buying them big ass watered down drinks and them nasty appetizers, and you sit and listen to her for 2 hours, complain about this dude. You pay the bill, right? You know what she do? Go back to that dude's apartment and bust it down for him again, cause ain't no such thing as secondhand laid, right? All right, you don't get that feeling,
This is true.
right? But there is a secondhand that people are always on.
Speak on.
Secondhand information.
Oh. True that.
They rather do gossip than a Google search.
True
Well, I heard. Well, I used this thing on my phone with a G on it, and 27 articles said that's not true. Well, that don't change how I feel, because Keisha told me. These secondhand niggas on some sucker shit.
Sucker shit.
Uh,
I like that. It's good to see you, bro.
better to be seen.
Than viewed, right? So,
Yeah.
so check it out, man. One thing that I wanted to, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Jay West and Dio, you know, behind the boards and doing the production. Good looking out on the lighting, you know, brother, kind of dark, so I appreciate the lighting.
Yeah. They don't have it on that left elbow. It's ashy.
Hey, bro, I ain't even gonna look because I know I'm oiled down, bro. My coconut oil is fierce. So we're gonna tackle a couple of subjects today, man, that we've been thinking about, and you and I just been touching base on, and you know we wanted to share, and you know see how people think. Again, if the conversation is beneficial, you know, share it, have it, tap in, comment. We look at those comments, we use them, we respond to them. Share, subscribe, hit the like. So we're gonna start out with a question. What is the most thankless, lonely job of a black man? Yes, fatherhood.
I was
So,
Captain Obvious. Yes.
man, it's and so I want to dive into it, man. I want to dive into some of the challenges of fatherhood. I want to dive into some of the successes, vision, like what goes into it, what has gone into it, and for you, and also, you know, how has it contributed to you being your best self, to being a better man through fatherhood. So I know there was a lot. Jump in the deep end where you feel.
Okay. Well, we'll start with this, with just some basic background, kind of gauge my perspective. I'm 21 years older than my oldest, than my son. So I was a young father. So it shaped my my young adult years, and it made me the man I am today. So my two kids, my son, my daughter, I call them my heart and my soul. So I wouldn't be who I am and what I am without them, okay? But being a young father, it presented a different set of challenges. I was still in school, so trying to finish school, trying to figure out how to take care of him. Rocky relationship with his mother, so that played a part in it too, because you have to navigate that. So that's my background in fatherhood, or at least the beginning, okay? I will tell you that my children have been my biggest teachers in life. When I first started, I thought, okay, I gotta teach him this, I'm gonna teach him how to walk, I'm gonna teach him how to play ball, not knowing that he wasn't gonna play no ball, you know, all this stuff I had in my head, and then the reality of the child you have, right? Now, to go a little bit in the vein of what you started with, in terms of our community and fatherhood, if you watch the news, if you look at the media, a large portion of our community has pretty much X'd out fathers. If they there, cool. If they not, well, we got a program for that. Now, we haven't looked at the results of that program because we failing on multiple levels, but we do have a program for that. And yes, it's an underappreciated job.
Yeah, well, you know, I wanted to offer, you know, because that, you know, some people could say that's debatable, right? When I say the most thankless and lonely, and connect that to fatherhood, you know, the other side of that coin be motherhood. But here's my proof. A couple examples.
Okay.
Mother's Day.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a card left in the store.
Go to
They
CVS,
got
like a tornado that came through.
like wiped out, man. And, on the corners, they selling baskets. You know, every other corner. Well, it's LA, so in LA, you know, that basket thing is pretty popular. You can't eat anywhere on that Sunday.
Oh yeah, nah.
I mean, it's a wrap, right? Versus Father's Day.
Well, you know, the sad part about it is in our community, Father's Day has become Mother's Day light. And, you know, it's a little bit more background. My son came and lived with me and stayed with me full time and had very little contact with his mother over an 8-year period. So I could have easily put some goofy ass post on Facebook talking about I'm the daddy and the mama and all of that stupid stuff. But number one, that's just an ego thing, and that has nothing to do with raising him or making him the best man possible. Number two, regardless of the situation, that's disrespectful, okay, to his mother. And if you're willing to show that kind of disrespect, it kind of gives a background to the relationship that kid was born out of anyway. And who the person is that's raising him, that's more of a reflection on you. So I see all these people, women posting these things, and also they've plugged it and fed it into their children. and now their children are parroting things and not understanding the long-term ramifications, right? We are not taught and trained how to partner anymore, what to look for, and how to sustain it. And it's evident there are two parents that are equally valuable.
Absolutely.
And if you change that dynamic, you're off. Right? And we're off in our community. You ain't the mama and the daddy. You're not equipped, right? It's hard enough for me to be a father. It's a life's challenge. I'm learning something new every day. I'm dealing with something this week I never thought I would be dealing with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's tough.
But I'm not his mama.
Right.
I could be a hell of a daddy. I'll never be anything on the mom side. Right?
Yeah.
So when I hear that, that's just ego. That's ego and that's hurt feelings.
Yeah.
Right? You just wish Larry was still around.
To help you with little Larry.
Yeah, little Larry give you grief, big Larry go. You know?
Well, you know, the other two quick examples of and Bill Cosby, I mean, comedian side, I ain't talking
I was
about
about to say, you about to quote Cosby, boy.
is in one of his classics, Bill Cosby himself, where he's talking about, you know,
Make sure ain't nothing in his drink.
hey, yeah, I didn't give you that drink.
Oh, okay,
so
that's what I'm saying.
you got that from the cooler, so you cracked the seal on that yourself. So, but he's talking about how the father, you know, he raises his kid up and he's teaching him how to play, and he's going on, and the kid goes up and goes to college, and you know, and he scores a touchdown and turns around and says, "Hi, Mom." Right? Pops got him there, you know. You know, that's the second. The third example is that, you know, what I've heard this line a million times, right? I have never heard anyone say anything negative, only positive shit about this line. And even as a crack fiend mama,
Oh, God.
you always was a black queen mama. I'm like, in what world would we still, you know, well, this world, we would still lift up a crack fiend and compare her to a black queen? Only somebody's mama. Right. So I mean, you know, what the songs about fathers are shitty, right? Papa was a Rolling Stone, you know what I'm saying? It's always some negative shit. But my man managed to mix up, you know, some negativity about being a crack fiend and black queen. You know, only for a month.
There are, you know, my parents were divorced when I was under a year old, and I didn't grow up with a relationship with my father. And I adore and I love my mother. Mm-hmm. However, I have uncles and mentors and men in my life that have helped bring me to this point, and without them, I wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. My mother, in her wisdom on this subject, would say to me, I can't teach you how to be a man. You got to go with your uncles. You got to go here. You got to go there.
Right.
We've lost that wisdom.
Yeah.
You know, and we have a lot of young men that are walking around aimless, and we also have a lot of young women. What isn't talked about enough is the effect that not having a father has on girls. Yeah. And where they end up finding comfort when they become young women. The first dude to say I love you, and the first dude to show you attention, because that's what you wanted from your father.
Well, I think you just tapped into something that was an epiphany, a connection for me, is that thing being lost of, listen, I'm gonna make sure that there's some man in your life, uncle, cat that you trust in the neighborhood, pastor, whatever. Mm-hmm. When that's lost, what's also lost is, you know, the respect and the value of the father, period.
I don't know if you use the pastor. He might be the daddy if they ran a DNA test. Well, the way some of these preachers be getting down.
Well, apparently whole ancestry getting passed out. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, but you know, man, it's as young men, we are oftentimes we will mimic what we see, right? So growing up, my uncle, one of my uncles, I remember this vividly. He was a corporate guy, so he had a closet full of the white shirts and the suits, and he was putting a time. He was like, "This is my uniform," right? He says, "One day you'll be a professional. You'll wear a uniform too." Well, in my mind, okay, I see him, right? Taught me how to tie a tie, taught me all of that stuff, right? My grandfather taught me how to shave, you know, all of these different steps, right? Standing at the sink, looking up, right? And because I'm a little kid, I'm thinking he a damn giant, a regular dude, right? You know, He's a skinny old dude with a pot belly, but to me, he's a giant, right? Yeah, granddaddy, you know? And I'm learning, right? I'm learning by watching. Well, I couldn't imagine if all of that was eliminated, right? If I don't have that history to go back on. My son has that history with me. I taught him how to shave. I taught him how to tie a tie. He saw me get up and go to work every day. You know, he saw my ups, my downs. He saw how I handle stressful situations. So now he has that Rolodex that he can go back on, right? If you grow up and you see feminine responses in a feminine environment, well, how can you not be feminine?
Right.
And so we have a lot of feminine young men, right? And especially sensitivity is something that can't be afforded to a black man in America. The level of sensitivity that we see out in the public with these different sectors and groups, as black men, we can't have that. We can't afford that. We don't have the privilege of that. And we have too many of us reacting like we have that in our corner, right? Don't think because some celebrity or some other person gets away with it on your TV screen or some news feed,
Right.
that your black ass is gonna get away with it up the street,
Right.
or in school,
Right.
or at work, or in any of these institutions, right? There are different rules that we must be taught and abide by as men, and specifically as black men. You know, the interesting thing is, like, well, it's just a side street. You know, I was told, oh, you need to get more in touch with your sensitive side. And damn near every time I got in touch with my sensitive side from a woman, it turned her off. But we can continue with the fatherhood thing.
Well, I think what you just tapped into, what you just scratched on, you know, about the world, and you know, as a father, you know, one of our duties is the main duty is preparing our kids for the world, right? You know, what tools do we put in their toolbox to help them navigate, manage, maneuver through the world, you know, towards success and whatever they call happy. And you know, I think that's one of the biggest challenges of fatherhood is holding that vision, that 8x10 high level vision of you know, hey, listen, at the end of a certain period of time, whatever people have in their mind, whether it's high school, whether it's college, you know, from birth to that time when they're intimately in your face, you know, the tools that you helping to put in, then that they don't see the value of the tool in the moment, right? So you just look like an asshole.
Well, okay, let's take a step back, because you're talking about on a high level. So there's high level and long-term things, but there's basics and short-term things. Like I talked about shaving. Everybody knows shaving, right? Tie a tie. Okay. Let me give you a story. We're actually cousins, but call me uncle because I'm a big family. It's a lot of age gap. It's a 40-year age gap at this time, right? So I'm out. We out at family dinner. Can you take my nephew to the bathroom? All right, man, come on, let's go. So I take him to the bathroom. He's probably 7, 8 years old, maybe a little, around that age, maybe younger. So we in the stall. He next to me.
Right.
My man drops his pants to his ankles, right? To pee. Now all the guys laugh, right? Because like, you don't do that, right? What you doing, advertising down there? So women probably don't know, men don't pee like that. Okay, if you got a cousin or husband, so ask him. I ain't got time to explain all that right now. But anyway, so I'm like, no, man, hey, pull your pants up, right, to your hips, and this how you do. So I'm in there teaching him how to pee in a urinal, right? Now, I've been having these discussions about with his mom about getting more guys around him, because if we go back to the table, I'm telling her the story. She was like, well, what's wrong with that? I said, that's not how men pee, right? I said, if you can't teach him how to pee, how you gonna teach him how to be a man?
Wait a minute, she thought it was okay for him
Then him drop his damn
drop his
pants
whole-
to his ankles.
to pee, not to sit down,
Right,
but to pee.
yeah.
Oh man, that's okay.
And I got pushback. So what I
Pushback?
Yeah, at the table. Right. Until a couple of people in the family heard it and jumped down their throat. But don't worry about that part.
Oh, okay.
But what I'm saying to you is, we have even lost sight of the basics.
Right.
Right. Forget the long-term plan.
Forget the big picture.
Forget making him a man.
Right.
These niggas can't pee straight. Right? So you can't. That's like saying, this is my long-term investment strategy and you got 25 cents.
Right.
You got to earn some money, man, to invest it, right? Until we get to some basics and fundamentals, how we going to have a long-term strategy? We still in the peeing straight line
Well,
of the game.
Excellence is a reflection of things you do, continuously, regularly, right? So if you do something regularly, you get excellent at it, right? You get proficient at it. So for instance, how do you? So here's what the long term meets the right now. How do you instill responsibility? How do you instill accountability? Now these are long term things, but they play out. Short term. They play out chores. They play out make your bed every day. Do your chores every day. Be consistent. Be accountable. Be a part of a team, which is that household or that family. And that's a daily thing. Right?
Right.
And if you don't show up daily, then it's disruptive. Now, the correction can be seen as fucked up or however it can be seen. But guess what? Outside the house, I'm like, fuck about you. Right. So it's the preparation, right? That's boot camp. So from zero to whenever they leave, it's boot camp. So to me the challenge of fatherhood is carrying that responsibility and not knowing how your kids are gonna take, embody, and implement the shit that you are trying to convey, because you don't know if that shit stick or not, in order for them to be successful with it.
Well, I would say this. I'm in agreement with that. Since we're moving on to challenges, I would say that there's many challenges, but one of the main challenges is to deal with your own hypocrisy. Fatherhood is a mirror. It forces you to look at yourself.
Shit, like all relationships, but
Right.
yes.
But well, at least for me, it was a relationship I couldn't leave. I've left a woman before. I've never left my kids.
That's right.
So if you're going to become, one thing that we all can relate to, when we were growing up, we saw bullshit. We knew a person that acted totally different, right? I had an uncle that was he was a dope fiend. And he'd be like, don't do this. I'm like, you about to go smoke a rock, nigga.
Yo, crack.
I'm not taking life lessons from you. So, but
And his son wasn't making songs.
so when we grow up, we see the adults and we see the ones that really live what they say, and you tend to gravitate towards that. So if you have a bunch of hypocrisy in your life, and you're talking to your child, your son, and your daughter, they're gonna see through your BS. So you have to start crafting a real philosophy about your life, right? And something with some meat on it. All right, not just some window dressing, because you're gonna have to walk that every day. And then the challenge is, when I say be comfortable in your hypocrisy, because we're all hypocrites as people, you have to be able to talk to your child and say, okay, this is what I thought then.
Right.
This is how I've evolved.
Right.
These are the areas where I'm full of shit.
Right.
Right. And this is what I know you see. All right. And I want you to go out in the world and still test all that I gave you and come back to me and be able to say, hey, Pop, that thing you thought about X, Y, and Z, that don't work no more. Oh, okay. Well, what you seeing? Da, 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 da. And keep that open communication. Right. I do not have some blueprint that I could give men, right? But I would say work on continuously being the best man you can possibly be, and pass all of that information down. Right?
Yeah.
The stuff you hiding, really pass that down. Because what you're hiding is gonna come out through your children.
And the piece on the hypocrisy is this, well, from my point of view, is on that circle back piece, because, you know, as, well, his big picture, small picture, as a child, you don't see everything that's going into a decision, right? You don't know all of the factors that are at play. So, you know, I look at the hypocrisy thing as kind of it's fluid, because sometimes, sometimes I ain't gonna say all the time. I'll say many times and most times, people are doing the best they can in that moment with the information they have, information and resources and abilities that they have. And of course, shit, that may change by the end of the day. May get new information, may get new opportunities, so that decision I made at 9 a.m. may be different than the decision, there was the same or the similar decision I'll make at 9 p.m. because of circumstances that happen in the middle. And I think oftentimes we have to be careful with the hypocrisy piece, because our kids don't know. They have no idea what goes into a decision. They have no idea, beyond their immediate wants, how and not even no idea of the internal struggle, right? Because fuck, man, at the end of the day, you like, hey man, these my kids, man, I love them. I hope they like me.
Let me be clear. Hypocrisy is not up to their judgment. It's your self-assessment. You know when you're being a hypocrite.
Gotcha.
You know.
Gotcha.
When you passing down some rule,
right,
that's based off of fear,
right,
insecurity, that's based off of you don't want to be bothered right now.
Great point.
As opposed to this is something long term that you don't understand.
Great point.
Right?
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but that's not where I'm coming from.
Gotcha.
This is inside out, not outside in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I like that.
One of the things that trips me out, and I've had several of these conversations, one pops into my head. She was complaining about her daughter, and she's this, and I can't believe she like this and she like that. And then I just paused and looked at her, I was like, damn, who raised her? You acting like this somebody else's child. She's with you every day. That's what you made. Go look in the mirror and let's talk about what you produced and why it came out that way.
Right.
It's always a time for self-assessment. Right? Now, challenge number 2, that just popped into my head, ties into what you're saying. We've all heard the sentence, well, she did the best she could. You just said it. You do the best you can with the information, right? Well, in general, isn't that what everybody does? Well, that same allowance really isn't afforded to fathers.
There it is.
All right. The line you said it wasn't even though you was a crack fiend daddy.
Right. Right.
And I'm not saying it's okay to not do well, but I am saying it's okay to not do well. Right? Because if your goal is to do well and you fall short, that happens sometimes.
Absolutely.
Right? So perfection can't be the standard. Right? Challenge number 3. We don't understand manhood in our community. So if you don't understand something, how can you value it? If you don't understand something, how do you even know how to make room for it? Many of us are boiled down to our wallets, financial contribution, and physical labor.
Sex.
Well, not sometimes
Is that
sex.
part of the physical labor?
Physical labor. Or I need you to carry this. I need you to move this.
Right.
I need you to pick this up. I need you to pick them up. I need you to do this function. I need you to do that function. It's financial and physical performance.
Yeah.
Right? As if that's all we have to offer.
Right.
Right? A lot of guys are in pay to play situations. Well, if you pay this money, then you'll get this. Or is this a hostage negotiation? Right? I can tell you this about childhood. I remember all kinds of beautiful things from my childhood. I don't remember, I've never told a story about, and I really do always and never, I've never told a story about my childhood where I said, and my mom spent $500 on me and that's what made it special. Oh, my uncle spent X amount of dollars on me and that's what made it special.
Yeah.
I remember the people, the feelings,
Yep.
the things.
Yep.
I don't remember the money. Right? All of this transactional stuff that we do shows how broken we are, and that's what we're handing down to our children.
Yeah. Yeah, and the and it's interesting, man. It's just like pledging, right?
You pledge?
Because
I don't remember that.
yeah, you know, it's just like, you know. Anyway, because when you think about it, because I'll say this, I have a cousin who plays. I remember him telling me about the process. I remember him telling me about the things that he went through. And, you know, when I went through our process, when I went through my process, it was, I had to go through it to understand it, right? And so oftentimes, I see folks give opinions about fatherhood who aren't fathers. I see folks and hear folks give opinions about what coulda, woulda, shoulda that person did. Yeah, but you're not a father, right? You have. How do you do that, right? Right. So that blows my mind, man. And then, you know, as we think about, you know, the other side of, you know, the narrative around fathers and not being around, this pivot right here. Either black men have a shitty father gene or the narrative is wrong. I know you often say, you know, more than one thing can be true at the same time.
Two things can be true at the same time.
But here's what I say, you know, because often I grew up, again, I'm the only one in my crew I grew up who spent significant time with my father. My parents divorced at 2, everybody knows the story. She went back to Alabama, took me. I grew up in the projects with my crew of cats. Them cats had zero contact with their father. Most of them didn't even know who the motherfucker was until they were adults. And even with that, you know, I often ask myself as an adult, like, hey, were those shitty fathers, or what happened in their relationships that he just punted? Was like, you know what, I don't even want to deal with her like that, or what role did the mom play in that? And often we don't ask that question, because, and I only say that, and I'll pass it to you. I only say that because and I shared this, when I asked my mom why they split, you know, she fessed up. It was like, yeah, I fucked that up, right? Right. And so how many women would fess up and say, hey, listen, I made the shit more difficult for him, and he was like, fuck it.
Yeah. How many women? Your mama and this lady named Pat in
Hey, shout out to Pat.
See a Newport News.
Shout out to Pat, Newport News, Mike Vick,
Them too. No, but,
Papa Chuck.
you know, that's man, you know, when okay, there's narratives and then there's the reality on the ground.
Gotcha.
Okay. As black folks, we have suffered heavily from narratives that are different than the reality on the ground. Okay, so here's the narrative of the absent father, this and that, but let's break that down. Okay. And I don't have time to go into the studies we've done in past episodes, but there have been multiple studies that have shown that actually black fathers are the most active fathers in their children's lives.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to use a Hollywood example, right? But we all know people that are not in Hollywood. Okay. So the rapper Future has 10 children or so by like 9 women. That's one irresponsible man. And I'll give the first 2 women a pass and 7 irresponsible women.
Right.
Because once you know this man has that many children, when you got to be about 4, 5, 6, when you got up to 9, like, who are you? What are you doing? Right? So my point is that there's multiple irresponsible people, but there's one irresponsible man. When you dig down into these numbers, what you find is oftentimes, okay, forget Future. You know a guy in the neighborhood that has 4 or 5 kids by 4 or 5 different women. That's one irresponsible man. It's not 4 or 5 men leaving those children. It's one man doing that, right? So I'm not excusing him. What I'm saying is all the irresponsible parties need to be called into question. A lot of this can be eliminated by better choices, okay? Better choices by both parties, but ultimately sexual access is a woman's prerogative.
That's right.
Okay? That's just the facts on the ground. If it's not, then that's called sexual assault, and I won't say the word.
We won't say the R word.
Okay? So now, if you eliminate that, you eliminate a large portion of that. Okay? But we're not gonna do that today. So those young men and boys and girls are still on the ground. Right? And we have to deal with that as a community. But I don't want the narrative to brush over all the brothers that's doing it right. There's the majority of brothers are.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to highlight and lift those dudes up because we need our community to see those examples, but we don't control our image. And then the folks that do get on are the bitter and the salty. Right? And so they'll get blown up as the representative of us. And I'm like, nah, that person don't speak for me.
They just loud.
They just loud and saying nothing. Right? And just, public service announcement, your experience is just yours. Your experience,
it's not
just
there.
because you black, don't make it the black experience. It's a black experience. A black experience. I apologize to Miss Beeman, my 3rd grade teacher. A black experience. She's the best teacher I ever had, man. Only,
Hey, man. Share it with her, man.
No, she passed on, but
Okay.
my sister's best teacher too, Mrs. Beeman. Taught me classical music.
Sweet.
Little nigga in the hood knew Bach and Beethoven.
That's dope.
Mozart. I'm just
Dope.
saying.
I knew it from Bugs Bunny, but
So I'm just telling you. Everybody else thought Box was candy.
I did. It is.
Yes, continue.
So, I did a little data, little research, and out of we have a bunch of really dope men, and I speak for myself, and I'm very blessed and fortunate to have a lot of a significant number of really dope cats. There's some concentric circles where we all overlap like a Venn diagram, and one of the ones that you and I are in, there's 10 of us, right? And so I did this math, man. So
About to walk off concentric circles. If you don't get your black, continue.
Oh man, come on now.
Come on.
So out of the 10
Got a thesaurus
in
for
our
Christmas.
group, 6 of us are fathers.
Okay.
4 of the fathers, all of their kids are with the same woman.
Yes.
And technically, out of those 4, they're all married or have been married. Now, I was going to break it up because even in your case,
I was married for my second one.
same with me.
Yeah.
So out of you and I are the
Yeah,
outliers.
outliers.
Like,
But we were you're
had
still married, and I
outliers,
wasn't.
but we still had
Yeah.
kids with our wives,
Yes.
right? In wedlock. So
Don't forget, black men don't want to get married.
yeah, don't forget that part, right?
Even those, yeah.
And so out of the 6, the 4 that are not married have no children. And are either middle class or higher.
Yes. I mean, that's just our circle. But if you look at the averages nationally, that's what it says.
Yep.
To give my future analogy, and I don't like to use Hollywood people, but that just brings it home. But you know a future in your neighborhood. You know
Right.
one
Right.
from growing up.
Right.
And if we all know one, okay, multiply that out.
Right.
So it's a small percentage. It's no different than crime. It's a small percentage of
Very
our
small.
community
Very
that
small.
commits crime. 1% of our community
Right.
are murderers.
Right. Right.
But
2 to 3 committing all crimes.
all the crimes, right? And so that's something we need to handle our own image.
Yep.
And let's tell the truth about it. It's 2 people in a relationship and folks do stuff, right? I love many women in my family. They're not all truthful about their relationships. And those are the women I love. So I know the ones I don't like is telling stories. All right, so let's just be honest about what we're doing. Now, I want to add this one as a challenge. Okay. This is one challenge that I wasn't prepared for, was when my son became a know-it-all.
And what age was that?
A know-it-all,
Uh-huh.
that happened in his teenage years.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
became a know-it-all,
That's about right.
right?
Yeah.
So let me give you an example. So everybody know me knows I can barbecue. I get on the grill.
Yes, you do.
Rib, chicken.
Hey, man, when I was eating chicken,
fish.
bro,
I can do a damn whole turkey.
you
okay?
doing your thing on that
Vegetables, everything. I cook
Yeah.
dessert on the damn grill. So one day my son looked at me, who's been my sous chef assistant pimp for years.
chicken. Beef powder.
Yeah, always. That's what it's called, beef powder. You know what I'm saying? Slap this rub. Powder this rub on his chicken, on his ass. So he told me, he says, I got it, Dad. I could do everything you could do. All I gotta do is get the rub. I said, you mean season the meat? I was like, dude, what are you talking about? I was like, that's 75%, 80% of the deal.
Right.
I was like, dude, with this rub, I could cook a Timberland boot and they'll eat the laces. I was like, it's 16 ingredients in this rub. What are you talking about?
Yes, sir.
But in his mind, because he walked with me, he helped, he did this, I got it. All I gotta do. And then this big missing piece, I'm like, nigga, you playing Jenga. You pull that out, this whole shit fall.
That's right.
But you don't realize it because you haven't walked all the way in the walk yet.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge because they are going to mimic you and they think they got it, right? And they're going to stub their toe, they're going to mess up. And then you have to be able to have the relationship and whatever to be able to communicate once that happens. What you don't want is them to be closed off once they mess up, And I had to figure out a way, because I can communicate harshly sometimes, and I had to figure out a way to massage it because my son is a little bit more sensitive than I am.
Right. Right. Yeah, I say on that. I'm same thing.
I shave butter on that elbow.
Man, I'm not. My elbows are good, bro. Get off my elbows.
I'm looking at them. You're looking at the paper.
They are good.
Sorry.
So how has being a father made you a better man?
Okay. That's a loaded ass question, but I will go to what I will say is my most difficult challenge in parenting, and my most profound situation came after my divorce. And when we got divorced, we were 5-10 minutes away from each other, and I was taking my daughter to school 3-4 days a week, and she was at the house, and we were working together. It was beautiful. She loved Michael Jackson, Thriller album. Every morning on the way to elementary school, we'd be singing, "'Cause this is Thriller," all that shit, right? I can't sing, but you get the point. But I would sing with her. And then my ex-wife got into a new relationship and got engaged and decided, Shay, I want to move to Phoenix, because that's where her dude was. And I remember the day helping her with the U-Haul and loading up, and her taking off, and I made it a block. And I turned that corner and I cried like a baby in that car.
Right.
And then I had to adjust and go, okay, you're in this new situation. You have this separation. How do you keep this relationship with your daughter? And it's been planning, and this is no shade to my ex-wife. She's actually been beautiful in this, in terms of we work together in co-parenting, but it's still travel, it's school, and my daughter's playing sports and music, and so the schedule is getting tighter and tighter. I'm meeting her in Vegas in 2 weeks for a soccer tournament. We meeting at the airport. She flying from her city, I'm flying from my city. That's how we are doing it, all the way from her being elementary school age now to high school. Right. And that was a challenge for me I had to separate the emotion and the function of, okay, I still have to do my part to help raise a woman, right? And to not have her feel about her father the way I felt about mine some days. All right? And one of the challenges as men is a lot of times they think we don't feel it. No, but we put it in this box because it's a task at hand that must be done, right? And I just haven't had the experience in my life where people really cared about how I felt, even if they said they did. And that includes the people that love me. They just didn't want me to feel so bad that I didn't complete the shit that they wanted me to finish. Okay? That was, as my grandfather would say, walking through hell with gasoline draws on. That was my moment in that. Okay? I would, even when she would fly in and out, I would cry every time she left at the airport. Right? It was just, and I've only shared that with a couple people in my life, and that's just, I was like, okay, this is my cross to bear, and I'm gonna be a dad. Another one is, and many of us fail at this, you can't take your personal venom and pass it down, because you are sentencing your children to make the same mistakes you made because you didn't deal with it yourself. So whatever venom and animus I may have, I've learned how to deal with that. And I had an interesting conversation around the holidays, because my son's birthday is December 20th, and we were having a birthday thing. And before everybody got over there, I was talking about some of our family history and bad pathologies and cycles that we've broken together. And I went over the cycles that me and him have broken together. And I said, now, son, these are the ones that now you're a man. I was too late to fix it myself, even though I've repaired it. And I want you to be conscious of when it comes to you, because I didn't cut those off. And those are yours to fix with your son and your daughter. And I'll be here to help you. And then I broke some of them down. Right? Now my mom was in the kitchen, ear hustling, and I know that warmed her heart to see her son and her grandson having that conversation. I was not that man at 21 when I was pushing a stroller on USC's campus. But I was man enough to push a stroller on USC's campus, and then people gave me grace that 25 years later, I'm the man I am today.
Dope.
Right?
Dope.
So as men, that's what we need. We need the room and the grace.
Yeah.
How about we just all doing the best we can, and we pass that over to the man side?
Man, that's heavy. That's so important, and that's the question, right? Shit, man. We might want to end on that, because that was dope.
Hey man, listen, I was gonna drop this.
You just did, man. That was dope. That was dope. So, listen. We gonna tune off, cycle off, hit us up, comment, or if you heard anything that inspired you, that moved you, that you want to drop in and say, hey, you things full of shit, whatever. Or we appreciate the conversation. We appreciate you lifting up something that most of us don't talk about. Do that. Just give us our flowers. Or if not, give us the bird. Give us the finger. That's cool too. So hey, listen, big ups to J-Dub Productions. J-Dub.
Jay West.
Jay West. Hey man. Jay West. Hey, new cat with the squad. You know what I'm saying? Big up. And of course, we got my man Dio behind the boards. What's up, Dio? And hey man, shout out. Hey, hit up, Gentleman's Orderly. Hit up, on IG. Hit up, Tally and Twine. Hit up, Skinny Black Lounge. So, with that being said, hey, we hope and we trust that you got something out of it. And peace.
Shit. Always remember, midget lap dances half off.
Midget lap dances half off. There it is.
Hey.
As we always do about this time, suck shit.
I was thinking.
Uh-oh.
Hollywood, they don't have no new ideas. So they recycle the same movies, same formats and stuff over and over again. Mm-hmm. So every couple years, whether it's a TV film or big screen, on the big screen, they have the movie where the kid wishes they was the parent and the parent hates being an adult, and then they wake up in the morning and they switch bodies, right?
Right.
Freaky Fridays when they even one of them, but they done had a million of them. Everybody know the format, right? The kid go to school, and the adult goes to school and the kid goes to work, and they figure out it ain't what it was supposed to be, right?
Right.
So I'm looking on TikTok and I'm seeing this over and over again. If I see another 40 or 50-year-old man doing a dance with a 6-year-old, choreographed dance on this goofy shit, I'm gonna lose my mind. Did you not go to homecoming? You didn't get a date to the prom. I don't need to see you doing the wobble or the Macarena with a 6-year-old, right? And they're in the comments, oh, it's so cute. No. The kid is cute. Your ass is stupid. If you was doing it by yourself, we'd be making fun of you, right? You just got the baby as the accessory, right? So then, or if I see some middle-aged plus-size woman, okay, with an outfit with no slack in it, okay, because your ass is too big. You get to a certain size, you need more slack in your fit, right? Okay, and if I see your can of biscuit looking ass talking shit on TikTok for 30 seconds about why your life ain't good, or why this or why that, or you doing some dance move too, why don't you take your ass to Facebook with the rest of the grown-ups? Okay, TikTok is for kids. I propose there should be an age limit, just like on alcohol, just like on different things. There should be a TikTok age ceiling. Like if you over 25, your ass gotta go to Instagram. If you over 35, you gotta go to Facebook with the adults, okay? These Freaky Friday niggas, you want some sucker shit.